What's going on, everybody? It's the Spencers, and we're back at it.
We're back at it.
We're back for the fourth episode.
I believe it is the
Oh
fourth.
my goodness.
Yes.
Of strengthening love and sex. And I hope that everybody's been having as much fun as we have.
I know.
It's been a blast talking about how we strengthen love and sex in marriage. And we've even opened it up for seriously dating couples, right, babe?
Absolutely. So if you're seriously dating and you're in this committed relationship, we want you to follow us as well.
Yes, we want you to make sure that you know we have a free master's class coming up on September the 15th at 7 p.m. and it's called what?
It is called Make It Last Forever.
Forever and ever. Don't let your love fade. Yeah, Keith Sweat can have said it better. Listen, we're excited about it because we want to make sure you build a relationship and a love life and a marriage that lasts forever.
Absolutely.
And speaking of that, tonight we want to dive into something pretty deep. Ooh, Song of Songs has just blessed my life. We've been talking
so much in it. So much in it.
it's pregnant with possibilities.
Absolutely.
If you really read this with an open mind, I think the Holy Spirit and God will open up your mind to possibilities that you never even thought about in marriage and in your relationship. It's a really wonderful erotic literature right there in the Old Testament. And so we want to jump into it, but I want to ask this question. Have y'all ever had some rooms in your house that you don't use? Ron, I think you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Especially in every African American family, there's one room in the house, especially in grandmama's house, that you didn't go in. Tell them about that room.
Oh, that room in Granny's house was the living room.
What was in the living room? Describe it.
The living room, let's see. So you had probably a flower pattern type couch with possibly plastic on it, and then probably some kind of plush, light colored carpet that you were not allowed to walk on. And if you did, you had to re-vacuum it and put the lines back in it.
That plastic, I had this visual of my skin sticking to the couch
Oh,
in
especially
summertime.
in the summertime, yes.
But grandmama would not let you go in that room. We had one. We had one of those rooms. We had a all white living room. And did we ever sit in it?
We did.
Come on, babe.
When we had guests, we did sit.
When we had guests, okay. It was like 4 times a year.
Possibly.
So recently I went in that room and I took out all the furniture in that room and gave it away, sold it, because I reimagined that space to be a studio. And so we're sitting in what used to be that living room because we wanted to help married people all across the world with our podcast. And so we had to repurpose that room. My God, somebody needs to understand that in order to really fully enjoy your marriage, you've got to make sure you're utilizing every room in the house of your love life. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
There's some rooms I think that people have not accessed yet. And we've heard couples say, I appreciate y'all's podcasts and everything, but we're good in the sex department. And my response to that is, I'm glad you're good. But wouldn't you like for it to be great?
Be great.
You can take it to the next level. And I got a feeling that some of y'all have not actualized all your rooms. Tell them about that dog tag necklace that my mom found at the estate sale and gave to us as a joke.
So my mother-in-law, you have to understand her. She has that very Spencer-like personality, sense of humor. But at any rate, she was at an estate sale and she found this necklace and she thought it would be a good gag gift to give us this necklace. And on the dog tag of this particular necklace was a couple. And they were in a sexual position.
Doggy style position.
Doggy style position. And the words on that dog tag said, "Do not enter."
It says no entry. And I think in a lot of relationships, people have that sign in their head, maybe not on a dog tag, but in their head, there's some things that y'all have not tried. Some rooms you have not entered. Not because it's bad, but You just haven't utilized that room. Or maybe there's an accumulation of stuff, bad information from your parents, or there's some resentment or some hurt or some inhibitions that prevent you from going to every room of your house. Tonight we want to help clear out the clutter
Yes.
in the rooms of your house and get y'all to a place where you're naked and unashamed and move you from what? From good
To great.
Come on, somebody. Baby, what? Let's catch back up on these lovers in Song of Songs.
Okay.
This particular scripture, the man is telling the woman what he wants to do. Can you read that?
Okay.
It's in Song of Songs, chapter 7, 7 through 9, from the New Living Translation version, and it reads,
You are slender like a palm tree, and your breasts are like its clusters of fruit.
oh, wow.
I said, I will climb the palm tree
Climb the palm tree.
and take hold of its fruit.
Take hold of its fruit, y'all.
May your breasts be like grape
May your what?
clusters. May your breast be like grape clusters, and the fragrance of your breath like apples.
Breath like cinnamon.
It said
Oh,
apples.
apples.
May your kisses be as exciting as the best wine. Yes, wine that goes down smoothly from my lover, flowing gently over lips and teeth.
Lips and teeth. My goodness. A lot
That
of
is in Psalm of Songs.
Song of Songs, and he's talking about you are like a palm tree and your breasts are like pomegranates. I want to climb you and taste your fruits. Your breasts smell like apples. That's amazing.
Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but
Okay.
that's a lot of different type of fruits in this. This
Okay,
one.
what kind of fruits do you say?
So we're talking about grape clusters,
Clusters of fruit. Your
Okay.
breasts are like clusters of fruit.
and then apples.
And then apples.
So those are the two.
And then grapes.
And grapes,
Your breasts are like,
like grape clusters,
And the fragrance of your
breath
breath
like apples.
You know, I know you said this time and time before in different workshops that it's important for what we eat is what we taste like.
Yes.
And so if you want your lover to have a good experience of tasting you, I would say make sure you brush your teeth and you don't smell like onions from your cheeseburger. You rather smell like apples and onions, right?
Absolutely.
And then if there's some oral play going on, you want to make sure you eat plenty of fruits, like especially like pineapples, because your body tastes like what you eat. But this man says, I want to climb your tree and I want to taste your fruit. If we tell the truth about it, no matter how long you've been married, you have some rooms you have not explored. And we want you to explore every room in your house. And guess what? We have a name for those rooms. Y'all ready for this? Erogenous zones. We want to tell you about 3 zones tonight that you may have overlooked because of the clutter or because of the no entry signs in your mind. Erogenous zones are parts of the body that excite sexual feelings when touched or stimulated. They may be genital or extragenital. Breasts, lips, buttocks. Extragenital erogenous zone stimulation during foreplay is important for women to reach orgasm. We said, I believe a couple of episodes ago, that the majority of women do not climax from just penetration.
Exactly.
It takes a lot of touch, foreplay,
Intentionality.
intentionality with the clitoris because of all of the multiple nerve endings in that area, and it's just not going to happen with penetration. And so we want to teach you tonight how important the erogenous zones, these different rooms, are. Many of you have been together so long that you've marked out your favorite places to touch on your spouse. But babe, I got a feeling that a lot of women and some men are laying in the bed when their spouses are touching them, and what are they thinking in their head?
Move to a different spot.
Move to a different spot. You've been touching me in the same spot for 10 years. I got more spots than just my breasts. I got more spots than just my genital areas. I got this whole body. I got this whole house. And we stay in one room the whole time we've been married. That's pretty boring, right?
It's very boring.
I have a feeling, help me if I'm wrong,
Okay.
that a lot of people who entertain the thought of an affair or stepping out on their marriage do so because what they're missing is not so much being with another person, but experiencing something new.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? We get bored. We want to know, do I still have it, or can somebody touch me a different way? And you can have the best of both worlds. I'm going to get in trouble because somebody's going to try to soundbite this and make it sound like I'm saying something I ain't saying. You can have the best of both worlds by staying married and experiencing something new.
How so? Tell.
You can have somebody new in the person you already with.
Tell them.
When we learn how to touch each other in new ways. And maybe get a new wig or something. I mean, no, you can experience newness by being touched in different ways. You tell me a lot, like, babe, I need extra sensories. I need you to touch me in different spots. And you said it confuses your brain. What does that mean?
To me, what it means is that if you are just honed in on one spot, then my brain is there in that one spot. And so it's like, okay, I need to not pay attention. I want to be able to fully, because I'm not fully engaged. I'm concentrating on that one spot. But if I have multiple touches, if you're moving your hands around and I'm confused by where you're going next, that's exciting to me. Especially when we talked about earlier in some earlier episodes of going north before you go south.
Go north before you go south. What's that mean?
Meaning, let's start at the top and work our way down.
From the top to the bottom, bottom to the top. I'm going to rock them while I still got... Okay.
You have a song for
I know I do. I'm sorry. It's a bad habit I have. Speaking of song...
Oh, goodness.
There's a song by Mary J. Blige that speaks to this. She says, I never been touched like this. I never been kissed like this.
Okay.
I've never been. I never knew it felt like this. I never knew a love like this. Believe me when I say... There is no one, I mean no one, that can do the things you do, the things you did, and get done. Don't you want your spouse to say that about you? I never knew a love like this. I never knew a touch like this. I never knew a feeling like this. And that's what we want to leave with our spouses. Baby, I want your spouse at work thinking about you while they're in a boardroom meeting. They sitting there getting wet or getting aroused, just think about the way you touched them last night. That's what marriage should be about. And I think it doesn't matter how long you've been married, right? When you learn how to touch each other in new ways, try new things, go in new rooms, I'm telling you, it can be fantastic. Many of you, again, have told us, we good on that, Pat, we good. You're comfortable with your sex life as it is. That's good, but wouldn't you like to move from good to great? You're good companions, having fun, playing with each other. You've had kids together. You've been married. You traveled the world together. That's good. But have you experienced the newness in every room of your house? Overall, both of you like your bodies and trust that the other will enjoy what is seen and touched. You may not need sex therapy, but what you could use is some education about sexual reflexes and erogenous zones. So, baby, let's talk a little bit about making love and stimulating erogenous zones and how simple it is and how it can help in the arousal. So can you talk to them about the foundation of enjoying erogenous zones? Why do we experience a sexual touch and begin to get an erection or vaginal lubrication? What is that all about?
So, God has designed our bodies. If you think about it, our bodies are miraculous. We can do so many things with our bodies because God has created it. So we have our hormones, our nerve endings, and in our mind with that, we can create sexual arousal when we incorporate all that. So our anatomic nervous system has two branches, and one is called the sympathetic nervous system, or SNS, and the other is called the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the PNS. So the PNS and the SNS, they operate in opposite manners. So the parasympathetic is operative when we are relaxed. So if you are in a relaxed state, you are more in tune with what's going on around it. Your senses are all awake. And it's when you have this creative building effect on the body.
Let's talk about that for a minute. You said you're in a relaxed state. And you tell me a lot of times when you got a lot on your list and you're cleaning up or we got guests coming and I'm I'm going to make love. And you look at me like I got 3 heads. And you're like, boy, I got so much to do tonight. I ain't got time for that. And what you're saying to me is that I'm not going to be in a relaxed state. But I've seen you when you don't have a list and you relax. Woo, what a time we had last night. Why is it important for a woman to be relaxed for the sexual experience to be optimal?
It's important because we have so many things going on, and if our attention is placed on if multiple things, then we can't be fully present
Wow.
with our spouse. So that's what we want to do, is to be fully present so that we can engage with our spouse.
You know, you said the parasympathetic is operative when we're relaxed and has a creative building effect on the body. And the sympathetic springs into action when we are intensely aroused to trigger orgasm. Or it can also be triggered when we're threatened. And the sympathetic can shut down the parasympathetic and ruin the whole moment. So anxiety, anger, boredom, and resentment trigger the SNS, and the SNS can shut down the PNS. Did y'all hear what I just said? I said anxiety, anger, boredom. Let's talk about boredom. So for all those people say, we good, we don't need no help. Now, if you thinking you killing it and your spouse is sitting there bored because you keep touching them in the same spot that you have since 1988, it's going to shut down the parasympathetic nervous system and you're going to have a lousy time. And so it's important that we do everything we can to shut down, to keep that SNS from shutting down the PNS. And I would also say this, make sure you lock your bedroom. Because when them kids come busting in.
Oh yeah, that's a good shutdown method.
It'll shut it down real quick.
Automatic.
The erogenous zone, the erogenous areas can be divided into 3 levels.
Okay.
Y'all, I hope you're listening. Write these down. This is going to bless you later on. The erogenous zones can be divided into 3 levels according to their sensitivity in producing sexual arousal. Level 3 areas are less sexual in nature, but capable of producing sensual arousal and sexual excitement. Did you hear what I just said? I said the level 3 is less sensual, but is able to sensual arouse and create sexual excitement. And I remember a funny episode on Seinfeld.
Okay.
George was going to get a massage, and he got a male therapist. And the massage got so good to George that his body had a natural response, which was he started getting an erection. Poor George had cognitive dissonance. He was anxious that his sexuality was in question. Because how is it he's a man and getting excited about another man? And the whole show played off of this guilt he felt from being aroused. But what George did not know is that the parasympathetic nervous system responds to touch. And it has nothing to do with the mind saying, oh, I'm being touched by a man or a woman. It's somebody is touching your skin. And the natural response to your skin is like, it could lead to arousal. So we're going to let George off the hook and say, George, no, your sexuality is good, man. It's just a natural function of your body that you're arousing that way. So that's the level 3. And then the level 2 areas contain a greater concentration of the nerve endings and can be more sexual. Mucous membranes, for example, the mouth and surrounding tissue and tissue in the areas around the genitals are very sensitive and sexually aroused. So when I kiss you and we have a mouth-to-mouth kiss or a tongue kiss, that can be arousing because there's more nerve endings there.
Right.
And so that's the level 2. And then the level 1 areas are what, babe?
They're the nipples and the genitalia. And these are the most sensitive areas and are capable of building greater sexual tension, with the most crucial organs for triggering the orgasmic response.
The orgasmic response, yeah.
Orgasmic response being the penis and the clitoris.
And then level 3, we're going to break them down some more. Again, let's get a recap. So level 3, this level includes the entire body. Everybody say entire body.
Entire body.
Type that in the comments. The entire body is level 3. With its skin and nerve endings, you may be asking, why is the whole skin area considered erogenous? If you want to become a sensual lover, learn to revel in and appreciate your whole body being caressed. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to help somebody real quick. I'm trying to help you graduate to the next level. If you can learn how to touch the whole body of your spouse, you can master being a great lover. My wife loves for me to scratch her scalp. Yes. And, I scratch till my hands get... She loves me to rub her back. She loves me to rub her feet. These are not considered so much sexual organs, but they are sexual in the sense that she loves to be touched.
And what it's doing is that the parasympathetic is relaxing me so that it will take me to the next level.
Take you to the next level. So that's why I rub, I touch, I scratch. I love you. So level 3 is about what? The whole body.
The whole body, the skin, all of it.
Who's that said?
Touch me all over my body.
I got sweat all over my body. So you gotta touch your spouse all over their body. Tell me about level 2, baby.
Okay, so level 2, this level includes parts of the body that are normally stimulated during foreplay. Okay. So if you desire to be a great lover, become familiar with these areas of your partner's body. Have your mate take his fingertips or mouth and or tongue and explore the level 2 erogenous zones. Another thing that we would always have couples to do is, if you're not really sure, then if you as a woman or a man, if you don't know what feels good to you, then you can't tell your spouse what feels good to you. So a good exercise is, if you have some chocolate syrup or even an ice cube or something you could use to show, hey, this feels good. Thank God for the left nipple. Thank God for the right nipple. Or just circling different places or putting X's on your body of what feels good. Like, I'm now enjoying the top of my ear to be massaged while I have
She's not letting me mess with her ears.
Well, that was when you wanted to put your tongue in my ear. That's like me being wet in my clothes, and I don't like that. So that's a conversation for another day. But you have to know what feels good so that you can tell your spouse, your significant other, what feels good.
Yeah. We got to take some time to prospect the body. Inspect the body. Stimulate the sensory nerve endings as you experience the pleasurable feelings of, watch this, the back of the knees. Wow. The back of the knees.
Yeah.
When's the last time you kissed your spouse on the back of their knees, or rubbed your finger on the back of the knees just slightly? It's like, oh, wait a minute, what's that? And then the inner thighs. There's a lot of nerve endings in those thighs. Like when you're sitting at the dinner table, out in public, and nobody can see you, slide your hand underneath the table and rub them on the end of their thighs, and they're gonna be like, wait a minute, what you doing? And then the armpits and the breast area, those are erogenous zones. My wife knows I love me some of her armpits. I got issues. Yeah, but yeah, her armpits and breast area, the abdomen area, and the navel, the stomach. Rubbing the stomach, kissing the stomach, the small of the back and the buttocks. What else we are?
The neck, from the back to the front.
My neck and my back and my neck.
Yes. Your neck.
What else?
The edges of the nose, over the sinus cavities, that is the palms of your hands, the bottom of your feet.
Talk about that, because you love me rubbing your feet.
Okay, so if you know anything about massage, that every organ can be massaged from your feet. So if you are having your foot massaged, then that is relaxing your entire, if they're doing it right, then it's relaxing your entire body.
There's some pressure points in the bottom of the feet. If you go and get a pressure point massage, you can impact the kidneys, the stomach, all that. And so you may not be a master of hitting those those points, those acupuncture points, but there's so much sensation that people receive from getting, especially a woman that's been in shoes longer than 2 hours, and they 2 hour shoes. It's nothing better than propping up on the couch, putting your feet in your lover's lap, and letting them massage the bottom of those feet. The face is also in the erogenous zone. So when we touch each other's face, when I'm kissing you, it's just something so relaxing about that. When you touch somebody's face, eyelids.
Oh, that's so sensual. If you kiss, the eyelids, that's really sensual.
Yeah, I like when you do that. The edges of the nose, you said that already. The temples. My wife, she was a migraine sufferer and not as bad anymore, but when she does, I massage her temples and relieve some of that tension. The mouth and the tongue, again, are erogenous. So these areas are rich in sensory nerve endings. Allow these gentle touches and nuzzling to be a sensual treat and to become arousing sexually too. Y'all, there's a whole house that God has blessed you with. Our house is our body, right? It's our temple. And the Lord has ordained somebody to come in and take care of your temple. And so there should be no shame associated with being touched. And you got to be okay knowing where your spots are so you can communicate to your spouse what you like. As you play with your mate and focus on sensual feelings, you relax. Like you said, babe, right? It ignites the PNS when you relax.
Absolutely.
And a sense of companionship emerges. You experience a connection and stimulate your sensory nerve endings for more fulfilling sexual arousal. So let's do a little exercise real quick. I know a lot of y'all are listening to this podcast. You may be listening together with your spouse. You may be listening by yourself. But if you are, pause this and go get your spouse and tell them, come here, baby. Come, I want you to hear this. So imagine that you're in your bedroom now, hopefully, or maybe in the car parked somewhere. I don't know. But y'all are together and we want you to do this exercise. So tell them about this exercise.
As you are listening to this podcast, we want you to, well, we already said go get your spouse. So we want you to set aside at least 30 minutes for this, at least 30 minutes. One partner will be the passive receiver and the other will be the active giver for 15 minutes. Then you exchange roles. So one person for 15, then the other person for 15 minutes. Okay? So both partners should be nude for this experience.
Take your clothes off.
You cannot be in your car.
Unless you're in your garage or something.
Unless you're in your garage.
We don't want nobody in trouble.
Right, we don't want that. So this exercise focuses on level 3 and level 2 erogenous zones. There should be no touching of the genital area or
the who?
The genitalia area or the nipples. Hush.
Do not go on to making love. This is about touch. And it takes discipline. Fellas, I know it's hard because when you start touching your wife and she starts moaning and her nipples become erect or she gets wet, it's very tempting to just jump in there. But we're trying to build you up so that both of you can reach that orgasm together. And sometimes it takes some delayed gratification and some discipline to touch each other without jumping straight into the sex act, right?
Right.
And how important to you as a woman is that touch, that foreplay?
The foreplay is everything. So the foreplay relaxes you. It helps release extra endorphins. It helps you to connect better with your partner so that you can totally enjoy that experience.
Yeah. So we talked about level 3 is what room is that in the house?
It's the
entire body.
It's the entire, all the skin.
Level 2?
It's some of those areas that are close to like the breast,
the
back, some that are not
underarms,
so much
back of the knees,
known
eyelids, stuff that we don't
consider.
think
about.
And here's level 1, right? What everybody goes to and what you fuss at me about all the time as a man, like, baby, don't go straight there.
I don't say it like that.
Okay, you don't say that. So level 1 is what then? What is level 1?
Level 1 is that I'm sorry, my eyes are watering. But level 1 is the most sensitive and sexually stimulating erogenous zones, which again are the nipples and your genitals. There, that's when you will simulate most sexual arousal. The nipples are mainly sometimes the most favorite spot for both men and women for stimulating sexual excitement. But sometimes, as a woman, the breast can be tender if you are not in a relaxed state.
Or if you're on your cycle.
This is true.
Yeah.
If you're
or if you're breastfeeding.
Or if you, yes, there are a number of ways that your breast could be sensitive, but in order to get relaxed, again, more foreplay, and don't go straight for the nipples or the vagina.
And you know, it's hard. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm keeping 100. It's hard as a man.
So why is it hard? Why is it hard?
Go back to what the writer in Song of Songs says. He says, you are like a palm tree. Your breasts are like clusters of grapes. I want to climb and taste your fruit. When I see you in some of your outfits and you looking good, you know what I'm talking about? And your breasts are... The Bible says in Proverbs chapter 5 that a husband ought to enjoy his wife's breasts, right? And so in my mind, it's like, that's my prize. I want to go straight there. But what I've learned tonight is that I am not exploring all the rooms in the house when all I do is go straight for the breast. And what I've learned, and you've rewarded me with, is that when I rub your feet, when I scratch your scalp, when I rub your back, when I touch your whole body and you are relaxed and you get to that space where you are extremely aroused, then you reward me by saying, go ahead, have your way, with my breast. But that's not the place to start. And even watch this, when you get to level 1, what I've also learned is that you work your way to those spots by teasing your spouse. So if you're getting ready to please your husband in his level 1 spot, which is his penis, then you put your leg on his thigh, you maybe blow around it, tease his stomach, and before you know it, you're down there and he's like, finally.
But also some men are stimulated by their nipples as well.
That's so true.
So that's another place to go as opposed to just directly going to the
What
beach.
about these old school guys that say stuff like, I don't want nobody messing my nipples, that'll make me gay?
Well, as we've said in the beginning, the communication should be between each other on what you like and what you don't like. Everyone is not going to like the same thing. So you have to determine, that's what makes us all so unique, is that we are turned on by different things. We're stimulated by different things. But that communication is so important with your spouse so that they can find out exactly what you like, because they may be doing some things that actually are running the night for them, and you're being so gracious and not saying anything. Don't be gracious. Tell them the truth.
Yeah. And we got to stop labeling stuff as
gay,
freaky and gay.
Yeah.
Man, please. God gave you your body
to be loved by
your spouse. And anyway y'all choose, the Bible says that the marriage bed is undefiled. That means that whatever you agree upon, it's okay. And so y'all got to openly communicate, because of all the bad information that's been stored up in your head, and you've labeled something as freaky or something a good girl wouldn't do, or does this question my sexuality because I like this? Y'all have to be open enough to talk about what you like, and there be a spirit of no judgment so that you can explore these different rooms, right? What did the lover say he wanted to do in his fiance? He said, I will climb the palm tree and take hold of its fruit. May your breasts be like grape clusters and the fragrance of your breath like apples. May your kisses, hallelujah, be as exciting as the best wine. Beyonce she had a song, Drunk in Love. And I believe that when we master the art of touch, master the art of all 3 of those erogenous zones, we can be drunk on each other's love. It's ecstasy. It's heaven when it is that we are able to reach orgasm. It's heaven when we're able to make that connection. It's heaven. The Bible says that for this reason a man shall leave his mother and father and cleave to his wife, and the two shall become one. That oneness comes through sexual union. We become one in body and in spirit. And sometimes when people reach orgasm, you hear them say, "Oh God," because it's a heavenly, ecstatic moment when we finally make that connection, and God wants you to enjoy all of it. Can you tell me again about level 1?
So remember, we're going to recap. Level 1 erogenous zones should not be the immediate focus of your love play. So we remember level 1, the breasts, the genitals, tease these. I know I can't say that word today.
Let's say it 3 times.
Genitals.
Genitals. Genitals.
Genitalia.
Genitalia.
Genitalia. I can say genitalia.
Okay, say that one.
Genitalia. I don't know what's going on with that, but genitalia. Okay, that's what we got now. And so men need to learn to go for general arousal to specific locations. So we want to start general and then hone in specifically.
Because a woman what?
Because a woman needs to have more varied stroking and techniques. Women, have you ever been on, you're in this upward climb and you're almost at arousal and the strokes have been just perfect, and you may even say, "You are so dramatic." You may even say to your partner, "Stay there."
Yeah.
But then he doesn't. He moves, and it takes you all the way back to first base.
I wonder who does that.
I do it.
Oh.
So
now I do it. And let me tell you why. Man, and y'all can probably identify with this. So when it's good, right, and your wife is moaning and groaning, and you're doing what you're supposed to do, you're hitting the spot. Sometimes we take a cue as men that the moaning means speed up or go harder. And that's when they get thrown out of their rhythm, because you had a good rhythm going. And because there's so many nerve endings in the clitoris, we have to go light before hard, right? And I'm talking about extremely, like feathery touches, rhythmic touches, and stay with it. Your tendency is, let me go harder because she's moaning. No. You got to fight against that tendency and stay light, because she's in her rhythm and you don't want to take out of it, because the S in S overrides the P in S and you ain't going to get no SEX. So a woman needs varied stroking and techniques, right?
Yes.
And men, let me say this to the brothers. Let me help y'all. Quit being obsessed with penis size. Thinking that, there's a rise. There's a decrease in BBLs.
Okay.
Brazilian butt lifts.
Okay.
And there's been an increase in men getting enhancements.
What type of enhancement?
Penis enhancements.
Oh, Lord.
Pumps.
Oh, wow.
Because they think they're not big enough. The average penis size, I think, is like 6 inches. Maybe less than that. 6 inches. Not that big. 3 to 6. And the vaginal opening, I think, can only comfortably hold like 9. And so we stress over so much that doesn't even matter. I've heard people say it's not the size of the boat.
It's the motion in the ocean.
It's the motion in the ocean. If you can please your wife by touching her sensually in erogenous zone 3, if you can please your wife in erogenous zone 2, if you can get her where she needs to be in erogenous zone 1, then by the time you get to the act itself, she's already there. Mm-hmm. And you please her by what you've already done, and the orgasm is just icing on the cake. So you don't need to do that. You don't need, excuse that phone ringing. I think that's somebody calling me telling me I need to hurry up and get off here and deal with my spouse. You got to make sure, watch this, you got to make sure that you don't overstress about things that are irrelevant, right? Don't be distracted by phones ringing or by what size you are, because you are the size God intended you to be. And right here, baby, it's also important for what?
It's also wise to understand that women, more than a man, will vary in what feels stimulating or irritating from one lovemaking session to the next.
We got to talk about this before we get off here tonight.
Okay.
We've been married how many years?
29 years.
29 years on 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've discovered, man, about my wife, maybe yours is different, but what worked last year, or maybe even what worked last week, it's not going to work this week. And men, sometimes we get this Pavlovian tendency where we want to be rewarded for the same thing we did last time. The Pavlovian experience is when they rung the bell and gave the dog something to eat. So every time he hears the bell ring, he starts salivating, even though there's no meat.
Right.
And so whenever it's time to love, we remember that last time, like, ooh, we tore it up when we did such and such and such. And you're like, baby, can we do it? And you're like, I don't want to do that again.
It may not be that you don't want to do it again, but you may not be able to replicate. That's like going to the same restaurant 2 days in a row. You don't order the same thing because it's not going to be as good as it was that you had the day before.
Try something.
So you got to try something new.
Try something new. So I hope tonight we have helped you to realize that there's more to explore. You got more rooms in your house than the ones you've been doing. You got more ways to touch your spouse than what you've been doing. And if your sex life is good, I'm glad. But don't you want to make sure that your sex life is great? Yes, you do. And so I hope that you take these tips tonight. And we want to remind you, we have a free master class coming up on September 15th at 7 p.m.
Right.
How can they go register?
You can go register 2 ways. You can go to drstacyelspencer.com and register there. Or you can go to www.strengtheningloveandsex.com. Again, that's strengtheningloveandsex.com.
It's going to be amazing. We have so much more we want to share. Y'all thought the podcast was juicy. Wait till you come to our master's class, and we've already got 50 couples registered, and we're anticipating about 100 couples. We want you and your spouse to be one of those couples so we can take it to the next level. And the things that we're going to offer you are going to be life-changing. So tune in on September the 15th. Go register now. Yes. It's right now, baby, right?
Right now.
Right now. Go register. It's free. And do me a favor. Share with some of your friends, your couple friends who need what we've been sharing. I hope this has been good for you. If it's good for you like it's good for us, do us a favor. Leave a comment on the podcast in the comment section. Like it. Give us 5 stars. And then if you're on YouTube and you're watching this, would you please share it with some friends? Cut and paste the link. Put it in your phone and text about 10 people. Say, y'all got to check this couple out. They are coming with it. They are keeping it 100. And that's what we're trying to do, because we're not ashamed of how God created us. We are naked and unashamed. Back to the book of Genesis, when he created Adam and Eve, it says he created them male and female, and made them in his image, and they were naked
and without shame.
And that's what we're trying to get you back to. We want to rescue and rediscover our sexuality under the lens of God. And let you know that God's got many more rooms for you to enjoy. So please go share this. We appreciate y'all being on tonight, and we'll see you on the next episode.
See you then.